Have you ever felt like life keeps forcing you to take the exact same test over and over again, but nobody ever gave you the textbook? Maybe you find yourself trapped in the same draining relationship dynamics, or maybe it shows up at work as an endless cycle of people-pleasing, where you quietly swallow your voice and fail to stand up for yourself when a boss or a colleague keeps crossing the line. Deep down, beneath the quiet exhaustion and the struggles with self-esteem, it simply feels like you're somehow losing at the game of life. And you try to do the work, you read the books, you try to heal. You keep telling yourself and others that you're working on it, but somehow you keep hitting the exact same invisible wall. And you sit there wondering, why does this keep happening to me? When you're in the middle of that frustration, weighed down by emotional luggage, it is incredibly hard to see the big picture. This is why so many people just pick a spiritual path or even a therapy, pretty much completely at random, simply hoping it'll work. They go into therapy not knowing what the real objectives are, and unfortunately, many therapists keep their conclusions to themselves, staying inside the myopic bubble of their single method, never showing the patient the broader curriculum of their own life. But what if you didn't have to guess? What if human development was actually meant to happen in a highly structured, predictable way? Chinese medicine and acupuncture allow us to see that spiritual evolution isn't random. It actually has a literal syllabus. So today we're going to explore this curriculum. We're going to decode the 3 eras of human development, which are mapped directly onto the 12 main acupuncture meridians on your body. Each meridian represents a specific spiritual journey, and together they form the exact blueprint of life's evolution. We're going to look at this blueprint so you can see exactly where you're stuck and what you actually need to build to finally break the loop. Throughout my career as a medical doctor and psychotherapist, my curiosity led me to explore countless conventional and unconventional therapies. But the reason I anchored my practice in Karmic Acupuncture is because of its immense, wide-ranging theoretical basis. This gives us the power to intervene while providing a crystal clear picture of this human curriculum. This curriculum is not dogmatic or religious, it is structured, it is objective, and it is physical. Every single acupuncture point on those 12 meridian lines represents a highly specific lesson on your initiatory path. Because these meridians are organically connected into 3 major groups, they actually create, what are we gonna say, are the 3 eras of human development. And this is what we're going to decode today. So the first era is the absolute foundation. It is governed by the earth element, which is comprised of the spleen and the stomach, and of the metal element, which is comprised of the lungs and the colon, or the large intestine. To understand the pain of being stuck here, think about the exhaustion of people-pleasing. Think about quietly swallowing your anger, avoiding conflict, and trying to make yourself small just to keep the peace. The first era is about building the very core of your psychological existence. Let's look at the organs involved. So the earth element represents the mother archetype. It creates the very first boundaries that define visceral difference between self and non-self. The stomach is the organ that decides whether we accept things into our lives Because just like choosing whether to swallow a piece of food, the stomach is where we decide if we say yes or no to an experience, a person, a situation. But then the spleen takes what the stomach has accepted and transforms it into true nourishment. There's a saying that happiness isn't about chasing what you want, it is about wanting what you have. Of course, this is only true if your stomach did its job of rejecting what isn't right for you. If your stomach is weak, you end up with a life full of things and people and situations and circumstances you don't actually want. If your spleen is weak, you might have a beautiful life on paper, but you're completely incapable of enjoying it. Now, the metal element represents the father archetype. In Chinese medicine, it is said that the soul is channeled into the physical body, guided by the metal element. So this connection is governed by the lungs. The lungs are about inspiration. Both the physical act of breathing in and the metaphorical act of finding meaning. They connect us to divinity. When the lungs are healthy, they give you the deep, unshakable feeling that everything is exactly as it should be, and that your life makes sense, even if you can't logically explain why. When they're imbalanced, you feel out of place. You feel like you don't belong, and you're looking at the world with a sense of cosmic injustice. But life is also about endings, and that is the job of the large intestine or the colon. The colon is about letting things go, but only after extracting the necessary wisdom. Because when a cycle or a relationship ends, the colon asks, what are the precious nuggets of wisdom I take from this? And what is just useless noise I can just leave behind? Together, the lungs and colon provide the profound validation that you have a divine right to exist without needing to prove yourself and without needing to be perfect at something or anything. For the perfectionists watching, who feel they must be the best at everything just to be worth receiving love or respect, this is your era. This is the validation that finally allows you to step into the world and ask for what you need. When you complete the lessons of earth and metal, you build absolute internal solidity. The ultimate apex of this power is authenticity. You develop a biological aversion to anything not aligned with your true self. You realize that if prioritizing your own needs pushes someone away, they were never supposed to be in your life anyway. And you finally have the strength to say no, ensuring your life is never in disagreement with who you are. And that brings us to the second era, because this is the main spiritual axis of the human being, governed by the fire and water axis, the heart and small intestine, pairing with the kidneys and urinary bladder. The pain of being stuck here is having autonomy, that's from the first era, but lacking meaning. It is looking at your life and asking, who am I? What truly resonates with me? What path, what hobbies, what relationships would actually make me feel alive? In Chinese cosmology, we understand that before coming here, we make a pact with divinity. This pact grants us a specific potential and promises to keep us fulfilled as long as we use our free will to manifest it. You can choose whether or not to manifest this mandate, but you cannot choose what your innate talents actually are. This is where the organs come in. So the water element, specifically the kidneys, acts as the deep, dark reservoir of your unique identity, who you are, your life's mission, and your hidden potential. The urinary bladder acts as the manager, organizing your time, energy, and resources so that you can achieve that mission. But water is dark and deep. It needs light, the fire element. The heart is considered the emperor. It is the seat of the soul, bringing the light of awareness to the present moment, penetrating the depths of the water element to reveal your potential. And working right alongside it is the small intestine, acting as the imperial secretary. The small intestine provides absolute discernment. It filters out the noise, separating what truly matters from what is irrelevant, ensuring the emperor is never overwhelmed by useless information. There's a saying that the wealthiest places on earth are the graveyards, because they are filled with the unlived potential of those who never manifested what they were truly capable of. Era 2 gives you the clarity and the mandate to ensure you're not one of them. Finally, we reach the third era. The pain of being stuck here is having a brilliant internal vision, a solid core, but a completely chaotic, unlivable daily reality. It is finding yourself in relationships, intimate or otherwise, that don't represent you despite you knowing better. If eras 1 and 2 are internal, era 3 is about implementation. It is translating your boundaries and your mission into a tangible everyday life. It is the architecture of your reality. This requires the wood element, the liver, and the gallbladder. The liver is the master architect. It creates the vision and the master plan. But an architect can design anything. They rely on you completing eras 1 and 2 so you can give them a plan that is actually meaningful to you. Once the liver designs it, the gallbladder acts as the engineer. It navigates the messy physical circumstances of everyday life, makes the hard decisions, and actually builds the structure. But a house is empty without the right people. And this brings us to the other half of the fire element, the triple heater and the pericardium. The triple heater is your social manager. It manages your broader social circle. It saves you from losing yourself in empty chatter that wastes your time, enforcing the harsh truth that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And then, last but not least, you have the pericardium, and it is your intimacy guard, governing your deepest friendships, romance, and sexuality. The pericardium does not navigate relational trauma, it prevents it from ever happening. It protects your heart by demanding reciprocity. It ensures a symmetric dynamic in relationships, meaning you only offer your full vulnerability and emotional availability to someone who is matching it step for step. Tying all of this together in the third era is rhythm. You can have the best plan and the right people, but if the rhythm of your life is off, everything breaks down. Think of having the most exquisite meal placed in front of you. If you're forced to eat it in 10 minutes, you won't enjoy it, and it might even get you sick. If your rhythm is too fast, you burn out. If it is too slow, life feels stagnant. Era 3 is the ultimate harmonization of your boundaries, your mission, and the pace of your daily reality. These 3 eras are the core curriculum of the human experience. But while the curriculum is universal, it is also day-to-day. The 12 main meridians are like the neocortex of your psyche. Highly complex, yes, but still dealing with the surface programs you run every day, like on the computer, right? But what about the operating system itself? That is governed by a completely different energy system. And these are the 8 extraordinary vessels. Still talking about acupuncture here. Now, these vessels are older embryologically. That means that in the formation of the human being, they come before the 12 main meridians, that they get formed before them, right? They develop first. And they're holding the deep, primitive, existential code of your identity. And here is where the magic happens. The specific exam questions, right, for your life are not found in the meridians or the vessels alone. Your highly personalized life lessons are found exactly where the 8 extraordinary vessels intersect with the 12 main meridians inside your individual Chinese astrological chart. That's where we see those intersections. In the next video, we're going to dive deep into this operating system, and I will show you how Karmic Acupuncture decodes this exact intersection to reveal your unique life lessons, and how we literally use needles to trigger the physical embodiment of that healing. So make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you in part 2.